In this video, I'm going to show you how to set up a virtual machine. So the first thing that we're going to do is open Oracle VM VirtualBox. And I already have one virtual machine set up, but we want to create a brand new one. So we're going to click on New. And then I suggest giving it a name that's going to go with the type of virtual machine you're going to set up. So if it's a Windows machine, I'd put that in the name. If it's going to be a Mac OS or a Linux, Ubuntu, so we're going to actually create an Ubuntu Linux machine. So we're going to name it Ubuntu 1 because I already have an Ubuntu 2 Linux machine set up. And then you just want to check the type. So our type is going to be Linux and our version is Ubuntu. But you can see the different types you can make. So you could have a Windows, you can have Mac OS, and same thing, Linux. There's a bunch of different type of Linux machines you can have. So we'll hit next. And then we want to give it 4 gigabytes of memory, which is 4,096 megabytes. And we're going to click next. And then these next settings we're going to leave alone. So create a virtual disk now. We'll hit create, VDI, VirtualBox disk image. Click next. And then we want to leave this dynamically allocated because it's only going to fill up the space that we're currently using. So we'll again click next. And 10 gigabytes is fine. So we'll go ahead and hit create. So we've went ahead and created the virtual machine, but we need to change some of the settings to actually get it set up correctly. So make sure that your VirtualBox is selected, and then you can click on settings. The first thing we want to change, and all of these things can be changed. So if you decided you want to change your name, that can be changed here. But I'm going to go to advanced. And the shared clipboard, I want to change that to bidirectional. Basically, that'll let me to copy and paste from my main computer to my virtual machine and vice versa. The drag and drop, we want to change that from host to guest. And that's so we can drag things from our main computer to our virtual machine, but not from our virtual machine to our computer, just for safety reasons for now. And we can go ahead and go to system. Here's where we had our memory. So if we needed to increase that, we could increase that here. But we're going to click on processor and change it. Right now we're only using 1. We're going to change that to 2. Then if we go to display, our video memory, we want to increase that. Right now it's only 16 megabytes. We want to change that to 96. And these other settings are fine. Now storage, this is where we're going to actually tell it which operating system we're going to use. So where it has controller IDE and it says empty, that's where we're going to load our ISO file. Excuse me. So over on the right-hand side, we're going to click on this little disk and we can choose create a virtual optical disk. So I actually already have it loaded, but what you would do is go to add and find where your ISO files are saved. So yours should be, if you saved them where I suggested, should be under your documents and then in a folder called ISO files. And then you would just select the ISO file that you need. So ours is Ubuntu, and then you could click open. I already have it, so I'm going to click cancel. But once you click open, it should show up right here. And I'm going to choose it. And you just want to make sure that it has the correct one here. If you're creating a Windows machine, then you would click the Windows ISO file. If we go to audio, network, and all the rest of the settings are fine and we can leave them. You're more than welcome to look through to kind of see what there is, but we're going to leave all those alone for now and go ahead and click OK. Now we're ready to actually start our virtual machine and get everything installed. Once it boots up, and it will take a minute or so until it gets to this page, we're going to go through the installation process. If you have a couple of these like warnings or windows up at the top, you can close them or you can leave them alone. It doesn't matter. So we're going to leave it on English and we're going to go ahead and install Ubuntu. And then for our keyboard, we're going to leave it English, English, and click continue. And we want to leave these settings alone as well. So we're going to do a normal installation. And then we also want to download the updates while it's installing and click continue. And now it'll give us a warning. So it says erase disk and install Ubuntu. And that's what we want to do because our virtual machine's empty anyway. And it's giving us a warning that it'll delete all of our programs, documents, photos, but we don't have any on there. So that's okay. So we're going to go ahead and click install now. And it's going to pop up with another box giving us just one more check to make sure that this is what we want to do. And we do. So we're going to head and click continue. And now we want to pick our location. So you can click on this box and then type in Denver to get the correct time zone and click continue. And here's where you're going to put in your information, and you want to make sure it's stuff that you're going to remember. So you can put your name, either your first or last name. So I'm going to just put my last name, and you're going to pick a username. I would suggest using your same school username so that it's the same as everything else. And then for your password, make sure it's going to be something you remember. If you want to use your same computer password, that is totally fine. Otherwise, if you forget your password, you may have to create a new virtual machine. And we're going to leave this to require my password to log in and click continue. Now it's going to install. So this will take quite a few minutes, probably 5 or 10 minutes. Once your operating system has finished installing, then you can go ahead and click restart now. We get this warning to remove the installation medium and then press enter, but you can just go ahead and press enter. Okay, now it's allowing us to log in. So we'll just click on our username and then put in our password. Once it loads, you can connect to any of your online accounts if you would like, but we're going to just go ahead and skip this for now. It's asking about live patch. Again, we're going to skip it and hit next. And we're going to say no, don't send system info. And privacy next. This is just to tell us that we can use software to install apps, but we'll take a look at that later. So we're just going to go ahead and click done. And then to check to make sure everything is working properly, we're going to go ahead and open up Firefox. Once that's open, go ahead and go to Empower. And if you get this warning, you can just click OK and go ahead and log into Empower. Once you're logged in, that'll show that your internet and your virtual machine is working properly. And then you can take some time to kind of look at some of the other features. Like, for example, there's LibreOffice Writer, which is very similar to Microsoft Word. It's just a Linux version of it. So you can kind of check that out. If there's updates, you could go ahead and install those updates as well. Hopefully this video showed you how easy it is to create a virtual machine, which basically is a computer inside your computer.